Test 1 2 test get to you in a second. Ensure that the broadcast, and then you can actually hear me. Hearing now. This is not a pack. And here we go. Okay, made the arbitrary Sony plus EA, not really sure, cut off of a minute. Kind of wish I didn't have to waste an entire minute of time on all these live broadcasts, but hey, when I go 12 hours, not a big deal. When it's meant to only be about 60 to 90 seconds of actual content is kind of a big deal. Just wanted to quickly show you, if you guys have not friended me, if you haven't found me in other ways, through PlayStation, assuming you are on the PlayStation side, because again, unfortunately, if you're playing on the Xbox side, trades don't go cross-platform, and if you don't play the game at all, I guess this is one of the videos that's basically going to be pointless for you, unless I guess you consider picking it up later or maybe joining us next year and seeing a little bit about some of the behind the scenes sort of stuff that goes on. But these are sold items, ended auctions, so this comes from the auction market. These were cards that were put on the auction house that I owned. Now, I think this should be self-explanatory in the sense that you can only sell cards that are tradable, right? So this is just the nature of the beast of how this is currently happening and how this is going to continue to happen unless I make a change again, I guess. But I only made it really the one time when I first started this would-be channel that has not gone public yet and is not being promoted. And in fact, here on YouTube doing the live broadcast, the banner on the bottom is not even correctly about this game and what this format channel is. It's actually kind of just a little bit of a would-be cross, well, I don't want to say platform again, cross like media type, whatever. It's for Twitch. We're doing a whole thing on Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm hopefully gonna get over there in a couple minutes to start that back up, because I did not get very far. Had a ton of delays. Just in general, I'm super far behind. So if you want to watch any of that live, you're gonna have a ton of opportunity to do that. But it's kind of relatively late today. It's pushing 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. So even if I were to do a typical 90-minute broadcast over there of live gameplay, I don't know, can I really do 2 of those? Probably not more, unless I just kind of go nuts with it. Point being, there'll be probably at least one for sure tonight, and then who knows what tomorrow will bring. If I'm feeling up to it, I'll do a bunch, and then I got a bunch of stuff I got to take care of on Monday that should have been taken care, like in real life, that should have been taken care of previously. That would have set me up for an ability to do a crazy marathon for not say like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks straight. Again, specifically for Red Dead Redemption 2. And also almost exclusively over on a brand new Twitch channel over there, which you can find. I'll point it out again, just the name, just make it easy to find because it's much different than here, but is technically connected to the same PlayStation info. So if you found me on PlayStation, you can see the stuff that I'm doing in Red Dead Redemption 2 pretty easily. However, the name of the Twitch channel, I guess my name over there, is Old Noob Gamer, all spelled the way you would expect it to be, the normal way, all put together, OldNewbGamer. As I said, looking to do a live broadcast. We'll definitely get off within the next hour, so before midnight Eastern time, and then I don't foresee a need to do too much more over here in NHL, quote unquote, tonight. maybe again in, I don't know, whatever that's going to be, like 6.5 hours for the free pack, which isn't doing a ton right now. And then I don't know, haven't really done the dailies yet. So, but I think I've got, yeah, you got until um, 2 Pacific time, so tons of time for that. Um, did pick up some cool cards that you can see in the live last broadcast, like literally 2, despite like no packs. Um, so that's cool. So I may want to check those cards out, as well as a couple of other cards that I pointed out that are going to come out. So to go full circle with this, there are 2 cards that I pointed out in the live broadcast last time. I'll go ahead and reiterate what they are right now for you. It's a legend, Kendon Yeko, as well as a base Ovi. I'm not going to go in and show those cards again now. You could find those stats super easy if you have this game. If you don't have this game, then I don't know why you'd be super interested in that. But if you are, just go watch the last live broadcast. I showed them definitely long enough for you to be able to figure out whatever it is that you want to figure out about them, despite the fact that you don't play this game. If you do play this game and you have some access to PlayStation, either playing both consoles or you play just PlayStation as I do here, I'm telling you, it'd be so beneficial for you, in my opinion, unless you, I don't know, have no coins at all, don't play the market at all, and just are content to get your own cards in your own way, in ways that don't require you spending coin. I don't know, is that a thing? People do that? I mean, I know people choose not to like grind the market, but this isn't really grinding. Just friend me, and then you can even ask me every day. I'll tell you. I don't care. I'm selling these to whomever. I don't care who they go to. I lowball every single time I do it. So these cards go super cheap, in my opinion. Um, so this particular card here, this Clef Bomb upgrade, part of the Global Series 82 overall, from a barely gold rare 80 overall base card, isn't like, here's the stats. I mean, it's not like greatest ever. He would have played on my team early on, and he'd have a shot at playing on my team when, like, loan cards are no longer available, or say like when you sell an amazing left defenseman legend card and can't play with that anymore, even when you were just testing it out to see how it was before you opted to sell it. Spoiler alert, but it's on the screen, so it shouldn't be too much of a spoiler. So anyways, point is, when these went on the market, and I'm not trying to like pull one over on somebody, I just want them to sell. So I typically do them, in many cases just for an hour. But if I put them up like now, it is technically a weekend, so you might have more people on now than you would on like a weekday this time of night, since the majority of players are North American players, that tend to keep, generally speaking, more regular hours. So the market definitely has kind of something along the lines of how the operate, with sort of traditional hours and then aftermarket, so to speak. But it's not actually limited to that. That's just kind of how it has worked out, in the sense that this particular game, some people might even say, the National Hockey League in general tends to be North American based. Maybe more excitement and activity from Canada than the U.S., but either way, both count as North America. So it's a very North American game, and there's only, some people think 4, but there's actually 5, just even in the continental parts of North America, time zones. So, well, no, I said that because I wasn't even thinking about Canada. I was thinking of the Canadian time zone that's east of East Coast time zone when I said that, and then I just realized, when we say continental in the U.S., that's because we want to exclude Alaska and Hawaii, which are further to the west. But if you're already including Alaska, if you're already including Canada, then I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent here, but I don't know what time zone Alaska is in. I'm not sure how much further west it is, because I haven't had a need to figure that out very often. But if it's technically one more to the west of of Pacific time, then I guess if we're already including all of Canada as well as their one time zone that is one east of Eastern time zone, then what the hell? Let's go ahead and toss in one to the west as well. So people think of it as 4, and I said, hey, it's actually 5, but who knows? You do it that way, which is kind of ass backwards in my opinion, then maybe end up with 6. Even so, that's only really, that accounts for 6 hours out of 24. So this is definitely off hours, even in my opinion, for a Saturday night. So point being, this was Clef Bomb, and this time of the night, as I said, I would potentially put things on for a little bit longer, depending upon what it is and how much of a discount I'm putting it at. It could work as a 3-hour. It might go for like 6. But because of how I'm doing these, I mean, just look at them. They're all done as specific prices. There's no, actually that I guess is not true. We managed to pull an extra, is that right? Yeah, we got an extra 100 coins. Probably wasn't even paying attention what I was doing there. That is odd. But that's cool. Got an extra 100 coins out of this deal, I guess. But generally they're going to be more, okay, good. Let's see if the next one was like that too. Okay, yes, that's what we tend to do. There we go. The first 4, with one exception that was an extra, basically plus 50 from what it could have been. They're not ranges. They're just specific prices, and those specific prices with those buy nows are going to be the lowest buy nows on the market when I put them on there. In some cases, in significant fashion. I think that there was like the next best Clef Bomb was definitely approaching 8K. So, even factoring in, like if you want to flip these things or not, factoring in the fact that there's a 5% auction item tax, auction market tax, and so people, try to tell you if you're gonna have to deal with 5% on both the buy and the sell, then clearly you're gonna want to find positions where you're gonna be able to make more than 10%. Then it makes sense. Makes sense to think of it that way. I could get a little bit more specific than that, but yeah, if I was flipping, and I'm clearly not, I don't know, I might look for maybe some opportunities to do even better than that, but that would be kind of your base, and I think you have that opportunity here. I mean, this essentially sold, as I said, for basically at that time, which wasn't that long ago. This is a 700 coin discount for the next, pardon me, the next lowest buy now that was available at 8K. So like worst case scenario, like if the markets didn't ever shift, which they do constantly, which I'll point out in the next card, then you could have bought this at 7,300, and you could have immediately put it right back onto the market at 8K or 7,999, because this is technically 7,299. So either way, it's still a 700 coin increase, and that's 700 coins on 72.99 is going to be just shy of 10%. So technically, it's a little bit lower than what people are telling you ought to be shooting for from a flip. But that is if you were kind of silly enough to go out and buy the lowest available buy now, and then immediately turn around and try to flip at what is the second lowest overall buy now, especially with other people trying to get 2 times, sometimes 3 times as much as this for this card. When I sold this, there were people that were literally trying to get 15 plus 15, 20K for this. I don't know if it's happening. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. Since I got it, which I think was yesterday, those prices were not really available, and this is new as of like whatever 3 days ago, is it? Early into November, so hasn't really been around that long. So I guess point is, maybe this isn't the greatest example, because I guess the market for this particular card could come down, but I don't know. I feel like it would have a better chance of if the overall market kind of stayed mostly neutral. However, comparing that to this Marchand, now issue here for me, I picked up the the Halloween Marchand as a non-tradable, and I think I've talked for 15.5 minutes. I think I already pointed this out. The whole point of this channel is I can only play in hut with non-tradable cards. So basically any of the cards that you see here, if I had them in untradeable format, they would stay on my team. I wouldn't really have much of a need to trade them. Except in this case here with Marchand, because he's the only true base card that we're showing out of these first six. You can get sort of any of his upgrades, and they're going to be better than 84. And so if you have any of the upgrades as an untradeable, then what would be the point of hanging on to the untradeable at this level? Being an 84, I'd probably hold on to it for a little bit longer than I would, say, kind of any of the 80s or 81s that aren't making my team and aren't providing synergies that I need, or specific stats on just like one category that might give me a buff on a back line or something. So it's not like he's going to be front and center for the rerolls at 84 overall, but it's going to get there at some point, because you can't play two versions of the same player. So he's basically just sitting there, and this is kind of my bad. I probably should have tried to start selling him sooner, because I feel like it was only like a week, maybe two ago, that the standard price for this was like 15. Am I way off on that? I mean, it had to have been at least 10. I mean, I know that for sure. I know it was 5 figures, and that's obviously nowhere compared to where this was kind of early game, where I'm not even saying like I'm not even saying before the market tanked, because before the market tanked, I mean, geez, you probably could have gotten, I don't even know. I don't think you ever could have gotten, without getting super lucky, like 6 figures on this card, but I don't know, you probably could have gotten close to 80, if not at least 60, 65, which seems insane at this point. But point being, there was a very long time where it was kind of in that range of like 30, 25 wasn't out of the question. And as I said, even lately, it was still going for like, 15 I saw. So when I sold this now, I chose 7,300. I tried to sell it a little bit higher, which was still lower than everybody else, but it came back to me once, maybe twice even. So I wasn't sure if it was just the down market that was down in activity at that time. This is just what I do. I just get rid of cards just based off of what they're currently going for. If it's an important card, like that legend card you see over there, which I will get to, which I don't think I flashed the price on that one just yet, but I will keep this short. I don't think we might not be able to get it under 20, but I'll definitely get it under 25 minutes here. So I'm really just trying to showcase how cheap my cards go for. And you'll see the timestamp on this. As soon as it's done, you can jump right into the auction house and see what they're going for. And the auction house is certainly capable of changing from day to day, hour to hour, if not minute to minute. So these prices might be out of date once I've actually finished this broadcast, and then you watch the whole thing on live replay and then go into the auction house. But I don't think so. I think these are still going to be at least reasonable prices, if not also still being able to qualify as what would be the current lowest price at the time that you look. So 7,300, as I said, I'm pretty sure it came back once. I don't know, maybe I was trying to get like 75. It wasn't much higher than that. And again, I think this is another situation kind of similar to this, where it was like, maybe the next best option for you would have been closer to 8, and then up from there. And plenty of people still feeling like they can get, a minimum of 9, if not 5 figures, 10 and plus. And I don't know, I guess some of those people may hold on for that, may just continue to put it on the market for 5 figures until it eventually sells. That's what you do if that's what your goal is to try to sell things for as much as you can. I'm basically doing the exact opposite. I'm not playing the market. I'm not selling cards for the intention of trying to maximize how much value I can get out of them. I'm trying to minimize the amount of time it takes for them to sell. and so I'm essentially a loss leader. I'm essentially whoever your example you want to use on this one. If not Walmart, I don't know, Costco or something. Basically, I have the low price guarantee on my cards. Basically, what it says. So, if you ever see anything up there with my name on it, which I believe is going to show as a joke name from somebody in childhood, but it's CoolFin20. It's COOL F as in Frank IN20. I believe is what should show as team or as seller name, which is different than team name. You can see we got ROK. We got a different team name. Kind of wish I could show these cards as my team name because I'm okay with that. Even though I gotta be honest, I also want to change that as well, but apparently can't do either of those two things for now. And whatever, I'll be able to change my PlayStation Network name soon, but I'm gonna just ensure that I see enough info about it not completely kind of fucking up your system and all your saved information and all that fun stuff and everything else before I do it. Especially since I think you get like one free, and then after that, who knows how much they gouge you. So point being, 2 cards for 7,300. Not bad in my opinion. I'm not saying that like you can't get any other 88.4s, especially bases, for any lower, but Marchand is an amazing player. Obviously, his upgraded cards are even better, but those are the stats on this card. It's a solid card. I don't think you can really fault too much on this card here. You know, it's I'm still enjoying having him as an untradeable with his Halloween card, even if he doesn't make it into every single one of my games. But you know, that is what it is. Anyway, here's Kane going currently for a little bit more. And so, yeah, this might be a thing where, sure, Halloween has ended. And so maybe people would say that this is a bit cheeky. It's unintentional if it is. If you feel like maybe Halloween cards are not going to be able to maintain their value and we're inflating Halloween month, and this is just kind of the hangover from that. But that would kind of suggest that this card was going for more. When I sold this for 48K, I absolutely saw many people looking to get 60, 65 on average for this card. So in my opinion, this was almost an extreme low ball from what I was willing to sell it at that time. And in fact, as I was saying before, I think this is one of the few that I put up for, say, at least 3 hours. I might even have taken 6. I just wanted to make it like patently obvious to people that if they wanted to go out and get themselves an Evander Kane Halloween card, and I gotta be honest with you, I don't have his untradeable, and I would love to have this card back on my team. He played phenomenal for me. I think it kind of sucks that like they do the whole stats thing on the bottom, but then it doesn't like show his actual stats that he's had for me. And none of them do, right? So I don't know what the deal with that is. I guess is that supposed to be what you've done in competitive? Did any of these guys play in? Because they're not. I'm not supposed to play with them in HUT, but I did play with this guy a little bit, just kind of during the Halloween season when I had the actual first alone, and then went and got out the actual real Bufflin card, and I'm not going to tell that sob story in every single one of the live broadcasts. But when that happened, I did go ahead and pick up a bunch of Halloween cards, especially after I got that Marchand, and I think at least one other in the untradeable format. I just figured, hey, we'll just stack our team with Halloween cards, get that heavy hitter. A lot of cases like this getting Beast. In the case of like Zdeno Chara getting Hammer Time, which by the way, the Zdeno Chara off the top of my head, I don't think that he is untradeable. So he's available as well. Obviously much lower. He's like the Halloween is like an 82, maybe an 84. I think it's an 82 though. But if you want that, let me know. We'll drop it on the market, and you don't even have to tell me your price. That's kind of the whole point is I'm gonna lowball everybody that's out there, and so you're gonna be able to get the best price. And you don't even necessarily have to know that it's me as the seller, but if you do know me as the seller, you can see which cards I've got up, send me messages, join the communities that I'm in. If I'm doing massive sales, like up to the max of 25 that you can put on the auction at one time, I tend to make all that patently obvious in the communities. Um, but anytime I've got tradable cards, I'm gonna sell them. As I said, I've got the Legend Denieko and the base Ovi, but I'm gonna play with one or both of those a little bit in some kind of side games, just to get a sense for the card and see if it's something that I'm gonna want in the future. Even though I'm gonna need them in untradeable format to be able to play um, regularly on my hut team as part of the format for this channel, and that doesn't seem to be possible for the legend cards. But who knows? If I go through the entire legend process, and at that point, basically everybody else has as well, and I'm coming up against people who not only have both the 99 Gretzky and the 99 Lemieux, and then are killing it in competitive seasons. So they've got all of those top, basically I think the lowest one was like was Jason Arnaud the lowest one, the 89 overall. So they're all 88 plus, 90, 91, 92, up to 94 on those. And I'm not saying people are winning every single one of those, but they could. So if you're coming up against those cards, and even those overall ratings are lower than tons of legends that are out there. So if you're just coming up against somebody who's got a bunch of legends, how am I going to compete when these are the cards that I'm selling, not keeping on my team simply because they're not tradable? And I can't have any legends stay on my team because you can't currently get legends in untradeable format. Although, as I say that, and I'm going to make this stop before we get to 30 minutes, as I say that, there are 3 legend cards that you can get from packs. And so even though I did do a whole sort of player choice pack ×6 opening last night, which I guess was Friday night, I think is when that was, and it didn't go so well. I wasn't really all that pleased, but those gave me tradable cards. They actually gave me this card here, and then nothing else that I'm seeing on this screen here, but gave me a bunch of tradable cards, which more or less just kind of went into sets, which is fine, no big deal. But I'm also hoping that I can do as many of the gold rare, both the gold common 2 gold rare as well as the gold rare rerolls for gold rare cards, because I mean it's only gonna be for like, what was it, another day and a half, I don't think it's even a full 2 days left, where those like the fours, I wasn't planning on talking about them, so I'm not sure off the top of my head exactly who they were, but the 3 just amazing, I think they're all 90 plus. I think the Forsberg is a 94 legend cards. Those for sure are available in quote unquote packs, and they indicate it's less than 1%, I think, on the player choice pack. I don't know if they're indicating any percentage at all on the gold plus packs. Probably something similar to that, like less than 1% or something like that. So not really great odds for being able to pull them from the mall packs, but that tells me that while they're available, at least you should have a chance of being able to pull them from the gold rares. Whereas the legends that you get from the alumni to legend upgrade process, like that Frady that you see there, as well as the Denieko that I pointed out, I don't think you can pull those in the packs, which means that they're never going to be able to play on my team. So anyways, this sold for 48K. People were definitely going for a lot more than that at the time. Trocheck, Gatorade, I don't know. Maybe you feel like this is actually a little bit of inflated value and you're going to wait for it to come down a little bit. But again, I got to tell you, 7,800 was well below what anybody else was going for. So I got 2 more here to show you. Here's the kicker. It's 240K. It's nothing to sneeze at. It's what's that, six times as much coins as I currently have available, and these all sold within the last like few hours. Um, yeah, 240 was like just way below what anybody else was selling for. People like had legit, seemingly expecting to sell offers for like 295, and so there were some that were above 300, and there weren't a ton that were even on the market. I think I only saw like three or four that were currently being offered when I sold this, and it was a card that I did keep, probably a little longer than I should have. I just really enjoyed playing with them and the side games that aren't part of the format for this channel. Um, it's just a fun. It's a fun as fuck card, man. I mean, I know he's a defender, but he's two-way. He's not he's not slow. He's not slow for being an alumni. I mean, he's 91. I mean, that's what happens when you upgrade to legend, I suppose. But he's 91 acceleration and speed, and with none of the three synergies being speed-based synergies. Um, I had to think about that for a second. I'm like, no, yeah, that's correct. None of those three impact that number at all. Shooting is good, man. I mean, accuracy would be maybe considered kind of middle of the road or top of the middle of the road or whatever, but power is balls, man. It's 94, solid, and that's from a defender, man. So I mean, yeah, okay, you want both sides of the puck to be fast. I get that, but offensive awareness for a two-way defender, not the worst at 81. Defensive awareness 86, again, not bad. You'd prefer, at least I would prefer that to be a bit higher from an 88 overall card. But I'm telling you, I played with them, and those types of stats: defensive awareness 86, shot blocking 88, stick checking 83, body checking 88, as well as honestly the handles ratings, which the weird thing about Legends is like they don't show you what the five overall categories ratings are, but handling was good too. I mean, deking's a bit low at 79 if you need deking, but hand-eye 83, passing 87, puck control 87. Good stuff, man. He's not a center. He's a defender. You don't want him for face-off. 64 low. Who cares? Poise 74, fine. Strength 87, great. With aggression at 85, he's got the beast. He's got bruiser. There's abilities to bump those up even further. I don't know if everybody was kung fu fighting. It's like 77. It's fine, whatever, no big deal. Point is, you just overall, just in my opinion, a great card. And then hey, guess what? It's got call the shot on the legend card as well. And so I'm trying to think now, is that only +2? Even if it's a minimum of +2. So now you're talking about both accuracies being 87, both powers being 96. I mean, how many cards do you have in the game right now that have 96 plus on both slap and wrist shot power that are not the 99 overall cards? Gretzky and Lemieux's legend cards. They exist. You can find them. But from a defender, come on, man. Let's keep it real. This is good stuff. And you can add team-based stats as well to boost some of this other stuff up as well. It's just to me, it's just like, I'm not saying it's crazy OP. It's an 88 overall card, right? But still, in my opinion, these are the stats. Those are the synergies. And the synergies indicate that at least for those three, if you activate all three of them, you can get boosts to these stats for those specific stat categories that those specific three synergies will boost when activated. Fine, sure. My point though is, I don't know. I would do something. I would do something worthwhile to be able to have this guy on my team every single time I play. One thing that I wanted to kind of show in gameplay, and I guess I can't anymore, because I don't think I really recorded any of the games because they didn't count towards HUT when I played with them. They were just kind of testers. In some cases, I didn't even finish the games because I didn't want to ruin the whole point of the format of the channel. But one of the things I did kind of notice is that, interestingly enough, like when he was on the same line, which would happen fairly often on left defense, and Evander as the left winger, I don't know what it is about that combination, because it's like, again, Kane is fast, and he's not terrible at shots, although it's lower than Frady is. Offensive awareness is 83. I'm trying to see like what other stats in there would suggest what I'm about to say, which is that, I don't know why I click like that. Just hit the R3 and go right to it. His offensive awareness is 81. I don't know what the deal is, but like way often than I expected. I like again looking for shots out of the left side. I'd be doing the various things. If it's just simply just running up on the right and then trying to look for a cheeky one-timer over on the left, I would do that and be like, who's that just why, that's my defender. It's okay. And then I look and I have to like watch the whole play and be like, oh, okay, well they both were kind of in the same spot, and for whatever reason, Frady decided to get up into the play and end up taking the shot and got the goal, and like Kane chilled back up in the cut, in some cases back by the red line, maybe trying to hold in the puck on the forecheck or something. I don't really know, but again, it's not a bad card. These aren't bad stats. It's a good card to have, and he was very good, and he scored a lot for me, as well as being able to actually have a lot of assists, even though you'd think that wouldn't be the case based on what I said in the terms of, looking for a lot of, speed from the right and shot from the left. He was definitely getting a ton of assists in some cases, regardless of which of the three lines, first three lines that he was playing on the left side. And yet, regardless of which one of those lines he was on, if he found himself with Frady as the defender on that line, and Frady was always on the left on defense, very often times he would come up and play. And in I think the one, maybe two games that I have had a chance to check out the base OV so far, because I had it before and sold it already, and so there was a little bit of an overlap in the couple games where I played with this card as well as this card, and also had the OV. And I know that seems like cheating based on the format of this channel, but it wasn't in like a true real game or whatever. So don't get your panties in a bunch or whatever. But when that happened, like Frady was coming up for OV too, and I'd have to go over and check to see like what OV's base card shooting stats are. He's probably not, he's probably not quite this fast. He's probably not a ton slower than this though, and his synergy is his base card synergy is beast. So it's not a shot, but whatever. It's like, how many other players, even if you want to include the legends, go ahead. How many other players out there, if you got one guy that has one chance to take one shot, I don't know. I think many times I'm going to want that to be Ovi. There's reasons why he's got the numbers that he's got in the amount of time that he's got. He's fucking good. This is the point. And yet, I'd sometimes go to make a pass over there, and then the pass would, especially if it would work, and then they'd score. My particular team, the numbers on the back are intentionally misleading, based off of the team jerseys that I chose. I think I'm not the only person that does that. It's just kind of fun to do. But then it messes with me when I'm playing with a card like this that's not really intended to be on my team long term. And so I'm like, who the hell was that? And based on size, he's 6'3", 240. He's not small. But Kane, 6'2", 212. Also, I wouldn't say either one of those constitute as being small. And yet, in the same way that Ifridi kind of played much better than his stats in terms of his overall gameplay, in terms of his look and his size, I felt like he played shorter than he is. I felt like he played shorter than 6'3". I don't know if that would just make him, appear to be stockier at 240. But, comparing that to Ovi, I felt like I could pick out Ovi a lot more than I could pick out Efraidy. And so in a lot of cases, whether it was him coming up for Kane or coming up for Ovi, and those were the two main ones that he was coming up for. And I'm trying to think of who would be like the other person. So Howard Chuck would be the other one on the left side a lot of the time. And I don't know, I guess maybe those two didn't come up together as often in those couple games when I played that out, because Howard Chuck's like a real player, as I already showed in the previous live broadcast. It's an untradeable base alumni card that I've got for him that I've not upgraded yet. So it's just his base card. So he's almost always over on the left somewhere for me, if not the front line. And so I'm not saying that that Efraidy never came up for Howard Chuck, but I don't know what the deal was. That's all I'm saying. It's like it wasn't like a guarantee. It wasn't like every single time, but like way more than I was anticipating. I'd be expecting to be able to have Evander Kane. I should be specific, Evander Kane, not Patrick, not any of the other Kanes that are out there. I was expecting people like Evander Kane, people like Ovi, people like other players as well, to be the one that was over there on the left, and then it wasn't. And because again, my numbers are intentionally throwing. Hey, somebody join. Feel free to say hi if you can. I'm gonna be out of here in a second. I was just pointing out the fact that I grossly undersell the market, which might not be obvious from this card, but should be obvious from these. These were all much lower than any of those were going for in the market when I went ahead and sold them. Don't know how long you've been in here for, but I was just pointing out the fact that I would absolutely love to have this card back, but I just don't see how that's possible, because it just doesn't seem like you can get these cards in untradeable format. So I don't know. Maybe way off in the future we make an adjustment to the channel format, and make it so that I can actually have select players like this back on the team, just because they're not available in an untradeable format. But all I was saying is that well, I don't know. What's up? Oh, now we got two people in here. So now I don't know if were you the first one that came in and commented, Mike? So I'll wait for you to make another comment, I guess. But all I was saying was Efraidy, yeah, I'd love to have him back on the team. I don't know what his deal was though. Like he comes up a ton, and not just like adding additional pressure, like doing it in a way that seems very designed. Where the left winger, if it's Evander Kane, if it's base Ovi, for some reason it didn't seem to happen. I've been in here for a minute. Cool. Yeah, I'm just pointing out that I grossly undersell the market when I do actually bother to sell cards, because of the format of this channel where none of these players can stay on my team and play. Not sure I don't think you were the one that was in here when I did the player choice pack opening the other night, but if so, this is one of the cards that came from that, and that was the best price that I was going to get for that, because again, I'm underselling the market at all times. And so that's kind of that's why I decided to do this video, that I thought was going to be like 5-10 minutes, and it's 10 times as long. So what happens when I get talking? All I was saying is Efraidy comes up a lot on the rush, or just into the offensive play. Maybe not as often. He doesn't cycle up as often if you've been moving the puck around, I guess. So that's a little bit different. But yeah, way more oftentimes than I was expecting. I sometimes wouldn't even know until after the goal went in, and now they've got this sweet little 3 people in here. Feel free to say hello if you are logged into YouTube, whoever those other 2 are. If you're not logged into YouTube, my overall point of this thing is, hey, go ahead and friend me on PlayStation, and then you can even send me messages or whatever. asking me if I've got anything up on the auction market, because they're always, 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 they come with the low price guarantee. They're always going to undersell the market on the PlayStation side. Um, this doesn't maybe necessarily look like that because I did get 240K out of this guy here, but I think the next best at the time was like 275, with plenty looking for 300 plus, and there were only like 4 or 5 that were being made available at the time. So it was underselling at the time that I sold it. I don't know. I'm sure it sold for less. I know for sure that it sold for more because I had it watch listed for a little bit. Um, Trocheck for a bit. This Gatorade card went for more as well. Kane obviously has. People were looking for 65, 70 when I sold this for 40. And again, has had a huge up and down from the beginning to the end of the game, only just because he's the only base card out of this pack of cards that we're showing here. But 7,300 for these two cards. I feel like those are both kind of steals. Here's the last two here that we're going to show. Zadorov, you might be thinking, okay, geez, that's another high price, 35K. Not really. I mean, this was a card that people got 80K for during the Halloween event. And when I sold this for 35, I think, again, the next closest was like about 40. And it seemed like people were definitely asking for and probably receiving like 45 to 50. So I'm not necessarily saying that like you should be always looking for a chance to buy my cards. We have 4 people in here now. Is that the record? If it's not the record, if we get one more, I'm pretty sure that would be the record. Anyways, low prices. Just go ahead and friend me in PlayStation or look for my seller name. Seller name is going to be CoolFin20, COOL. We lost one. COOL, F as in Frank, IN20, is I think what is going to pop up as seller name. And I think that's also how you would find me in PlayStation. Is that right, Mike? I wouldn't know. I think you probably would know. And then this is the YouTube channel, which anybody can access, even if you don't play the game, but that doesn't help you as much. I believe the name of it is called YouTube and Chill. I don't know, we might change that. It's not very descriptive. I don't know how else to tell you how to connect into this. My team name of Rockers doesn't do you any good. Anyway, there's a Zadorov 35. As I said, people were asking, getting 40 at the time, and in some cases getting even higher than that, up to 45, 50. But again, I'm not saying go in here and get my cards as soon as they're made available for flipping purposes, although you could totally flip that, and you could totally flip that currently. I don't know if Halloween cards are going to go down in value or Gatorade cards are going to go down in value. I don't have to be concerned with that because it is almost impossible, other than like loan versions, to get those cards in a tradable format. Although, as I say that, I have the Halloween Marchand as a tradable, as a non-tradable format. So he stays on the team, and it's an upgrade, which is why I felt the need to get rid of this card, even though I was getting almost no money for it. You know, gold rares are basically a base of 5K, and sometimes you can get them for less. Here's the last one that we're showing here. Then we'll be done. So we're going to clean this up in less than 50 minutes. So that's cool. The Jacob Trouba Gatorade, talked a lot about it in previous live broadcasts. Kind of like went out of my way to go ahead and get the card, and then kind of thought, well, that was probably pretty stupid. Lost one of the 3 that was in here. It was like that was kind of stupid because you can't actually play with the card. And I would look to play with the card. I mean, I just showed a bunch of defenders, but this is over on the right side here. Good stats. I think I played like a game against like player of the week, the player of the week team or whatever. Just to kind of know for my own purposes of whether it's good and making sure that I wasn't going to be gouging people. But then I got into the market and realized, if I'm going to lowball, the best I'm going to get is 5K for it, which kind of sucks for me. People might be able to get it for 10K. So this one isn't the best example, I guess, because it's on the much lower end. But percentage-wise, it's still there because you could get it from me for 5, as opposed to paying, say, at least 6. Even if you pay, 5,500, that's your 5% right there in terms of the. Well, technically, it's the 10%. It's the 5% on both ends for the auction. So if you wanted to be silly and the next best lowest card was being offered at 5.5K. You and now we're down to one. Is that just you, Mike? Feel free to make a comment. I know that you're the one that's left in here still. Um, you could buy this for 5K. Oh, damn, I said I was going to end this in 50 minutes. I'll end it now. But you could buy this at 5K from me, and then you can immediately put it on the market at 5.5 or undercut Price is Right style by like $1 from the other person that was selling it at 5.5. Or if you're trying to get smart and cheeky about it, feel free to buy the 5.5 as well. And then now all of a sudden you just took out the entire bottom end of the market with two cards, and you can sell either one or both at a higher than 5.5 price. But the point is, even if you buy it from me at 5 and then turn around and sell it at 5.5, that's 10% right there. So that's basically, depending on how you look at it, it's either break even or a slight win for you. But I think more than that, you'd be looking for like cards like this, cards like this, cards like that. I don't know about this one. That for now at least, you could very easily turn around and sell for a lot more. But even if you're not looking to sell, again, 7,300 for those two, 48 for that, 78 for that, 240, 35, and 5. Go ahead, and now everyone's gone, so even Mike is gone, so I'm not talking to anybody at this point. Go ahead and look in the market right now for any of those. I thought it was 6. I guess that's 7 cards. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, those 7 cards. And I seriously doubt you might see a lower price, but I seriously doubt that you're going to see a lower buy now price. So this time of the night, you might be able to snipe something where somebody didn't put, they either didn't put a buy now price and started with a much lower start price, and then just didn't garner what they were looking for or hoping for. I'm assuming is why they did that. Or again, they started with like a lower start price and a higher buy now price, but by not by much in some cases. Like maybe the start price on this particular card was like 68, 6,900, but the buy now price was higher, and it was 7,500 or whatever. And because there's nobody watching the market or looking to buy this card at this particular hour, then and they only put it on for an hour for some stupid ass reason. I don't know. In that case, maybe you could get it for less than this. But I feel confident that those 7 cards, even currently, are not going to be able to be bought with a buy now price less than those at this particular moment in time, which is an hour after I started this video. In that case, at a minimum for every single one of these is at least 2 hours from when I set the prices. But all I'm saying is when I set the prices, it was lowball on all of them. And I gotta be honest, you know what? Now nobody in the room left. I'm cutting into my Red Dead Redemption 2 intended time now that it's past midnight Eastern time, and was hoping to get another at least 90 minutes out of that, quote unquote today, quote unquote tonight, prior to getting some much needed rest. So I'm gonna peace out on this. This is a quick example. There's 7 prices. I don't think are terrible. You can disagree. Feel free to leave comments if you watch the live replay. But make sure you pay attention to the timestamp from when I made this, and go back 2 hours from that to see what the prices were that were out there. Don't come at me and be like, hey, you got 48K for Evander Kane, and I'm watching this 3 days from now, and for whatever reason the Halloween market tanked, and all of a sudden, you can't even get 20K for the card. It's not my fault, number one. Also not what I said. Also warned prior to now that could potentially happen for Halloween. It could happen for Gatorade. It can basically happen for all cards, really. And it can happen for the overall market in general as well. Those are things that I can't necessarily control. All I can control is the fact that I basically come with the low price guarantee. I'm always going to sell considerably lower than anybody else is selling for on the market at that particular time. And so currently the high-end value cards that are still sitting in my collection in a tradable format that I will make available Feel free to hit me up however you like. Just even leave a smart ass comment on YouTube if you feel like it. Complaining about me taking an hour to show the prices from the auction house of 7 cards that I sold. I get it. It's basically 10 to 20 times overkill of what it should have been. But feel free to leave a comment there if you want to let me know that you have an interest in those 2 cards that are going to be sold soon. Not as soon as they normally would be, because I'm kind of hoping to stop playing this game right now. And that's just how PlayStation seems to work. Best I can tell is you can't have 2 apps running at the same time. I'm gonna clear out of here now. It's not currently on the market, but I will put it up soon. You can even tell me what price you're looking for, and when I go and look at the market, as long as it's not, I don't care that it's lower than what's currently being sold for. That's kind of the whole fucking point of this video and the whole point of what I'm doing. But it can't be obscene. OV like was never going for less than 80K, and when I looked last, he was, but not by much. He was like 60s, 70s that were, being sold at like with a bid, as opposed to, and a range, as opposed to like a buy now or whatever, where you can't see anything unless you put on the watch list and get to see that it was sold, like these were here. Even so, don't come at me, within the next day or two and telling me that, you want me to put my OV up for 40, 35K or something stupid like that. Like, the base OV sure can have a chance of getting that low, but the overall market has to come down, and the availability of the upgraded OV cards has to like increase somehow, even though there aren't any currently available in packs. So I don't know how that would happen. I'm not saying it's not possible, but let's not be stupid with this, right? So you feel free to make a request if you want to. Feel free to even state the price or a range that you would be, hoping for, willing to accept, or whatever. And I would at minimum take it into consideration. However, I'm not like, this isn't a charity. I'm not looking to just give stuff away. Again, I'm not going to like sell it for 50% lower than a 10% the lowest available buy now that's on the market. That is just absurd. I'm not going to do that. So instead, if you want to give me like an actual reasonable range, or even a range that's maybe a little bit less than reasonable, then like whatever, I'll take it into consideration. But if it's that much lower than it needs to be, then it's not going to have too much of an impact on that. When I get in there and I actually go to sell the thing, assuming it's dropped, say that people are actually selling it at like 55K, on the very lowest buy now that's available when I go to sell it. I don't know. I guess I put it up at 50, 49,999 at a maximum. That's going to be a pretty goddamn good price for a card that people have gotten 200K for. Sure, early in the game, but still not necessarily the point. So being basically like, I had the math in my head for a second there, but I forget what number I just used. Was it 50K? Is that what I said? So it'd be basically 25% of its high end value. That's such a huge drop off in has it been 2 months at this point? Basically 2 months time. Well, it hasn't been 2 months. We started on the 11th, so in less than 2 months time, 25% of its original value. That sucks. But hey, that's what I'll do. If the lowest ones out there are 55, and it's not just somebody trolling, where they're like, most of them are 75, and then there's like one at 55. I'm not gonna pay attention to that one at 55. I might wait for that to go away and then put mine on later, or I might just disregard it completely and put mine on for a reasonable price that is higher than that, and then probably have to put a longer duration on it so that the stupid one goes away first. Those are the types of things that I would do for sure. But if 55 is reasonable, and especially if it's close to what other people are going for, yeah, I could put it up for 50. And I said I was going to finish in under an hour. It'd be nice if I could stick to any of my times that I say I'm going to. the nice thing, if you do go ahead and check out the Red Dead Redemption 2 series over on the Twitch channel, again, of Old Noob Gamer, OldNewbGamer, the nice thing about that is almost exclusively the intention over there is no microphone. It's not this screen with the comments on the side and all that. It's full screen. It's speech to text if people actually do make comments, and I can't hear the way it's set up now. I can't hear a fucking thing when they say anything, so I basically don't even really pay attention to it. um, but it's there as an option, I guess. But I play in full screen, and I rarely ever even have the mic in. So over there, doing those 90 minutes, it's gonna be as close as um, you know, very close to as close as possible for me at least of 90 minutes of actual gameplay content. It's going to be, if it's 90 minutes, it's going to be at least 60, if not 75 plus, and in some cases very close to a full 90 of strictly gameplay content, um, without like pauses and static screens like this where there's nothing actually going on, as well as almost no talking from me. Now, there's been a little bit of talking in the first couple that I've done, just because there were some issues with the screen and the brightness and the coloration and the ability to actually see shit. We were going through snow, and I've seen screenshots from other people, and they could see stuff in every single one of the examples from different people from those same scenes, and I didn't see shit. It was just a completely white screen, and people were talking, and there was action in front of me, and I could have rode my horse off a cliff. And if you don't know about that game, that's not a good thing. That's not helpful. You die, horse dies forever, especially early in the game where you don't have the tonic that I've heard about that can apparently revive dead horses or something. I'm not at that point yet. So that horse would be just completely dead. And I don't think I even have a backup. So I don't even know what the hell would happen at that point. I don't know if they would restart the game or something. So point being, it was important enough for me to say, hey, I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to take a little pause, try to see if I can adjust the settings on my TV as well as the settings in the game. And it took a little longer than I probably should have to have done that. Kind of asked some questions along the way when I did it, but it wasn't in this format, so I couldn't see comments on the side. And I don't think anybody was in and talking at the time. So who knows? Don't know. Still going to try to make adjustments, but most of those I think I can try to do on my own time and with whatever, and don't need to like jump on the mic and talk for 10 minutes about the changes that I'm trying to make to the like at least to like the display aspects of the game and stuff like that. So yeah, point being, not much on the mic over there, basically just gameplay, literally and figuratively letting the game speak for itself, not speaking over the characters who are speaking, leaving subtitles on with the name of the person who's speaking in the subtitle as well, so making it extremely clear that even if you don't own the game, it's effectively like watching a person playing a slightly interactive version of a cinematic, basically movie. That's what it is. So it's exciting, it's fun, it's good times. And then later I'm going to be a bastard. Like an actual bastard in the game. Like I'm just gonna do bad shit basically. That's gonna be fun. So we'll get over there and we'll do that. That's over on Twitch. Go ahead and join us there. One last shot. Those were the prices. I get it. If you're like, you take out one 240K and then it's like it's less than, I think the rest of it is less than 100K in coins. For somebody who's flipping and who's looking to basically make and net profit like 1,000,000 coins a day, this is probably not all that exciting for you, because I'm not going to have a ton of stuff to be able to offer you, because I'm not going to be opening a ton of packs that come with these tradable cards, but I'm going to have some, and whenever I do have those some, they're going to get on the market and they're going to get lowballed. So feel free to connect to me in any way that you can. Reach out to me if you have an interest in something specific, or just to inquire about what I do have that might be coming up soon. And if you want to get notified as to when it's going to drop, I might even be nice enough to be able to give you advance notice of saying, hey, Base Ovi, hey, Legend Denieko, both or one of the two, going to be dropping them in, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, maybe even give you half an hour head start or whatever. check for my information, go out there onto the market, and just be prepared for it to drop and be one of the first ones to be able to snipe that up, because people do generally tend to buy these things pretty quickly. That's the point for me, to be able to sell them as fast as I can to move on with my life and my game. And therefore, the people that buy them, in my opinion, are getting some pretty sweet values. With that, we will peace out for now. Check you out.